No, I'm not going to shoot my junk off. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Will. Today I want to talk to you guys about why I choose to carry appendix. And if you don't know what appendix is, I'll roll in a picture here, but basically it's when you carry on or around the 12 o'clock of your waistband, inside the waistband, right there about where your appendix is. There's a lot of pros and cons, I guess, to appendix carry, but that can be said of every carry position ever, honestly. One thing I really like about appendix carry is I can carry a bigger gun under like a t-shirt or something, and I don't get as much printing. It's very hard to tell that I'm carrying a gun, even under a t-shirt, because the wide part of my body is what's concealing, or I guess masking it is a better word, versus the narrower side of my body. And if I put it on the back, it's going to print because we humans tend to lean forward a lot. So it doesn't print, it doesn't show. It's very easily accessible too. That's another thing I really like about appendix carry. I can get to my gun very quickly because I don't have to move my hands very far from their natural positioning. Our hands are really good at being out in front of us, not so good at being behind us. So trying to reach back for a gun, I have carried like that in the past. I still do it every now and then, but it's not as intuitive and ergonomic for the human body as appendix carry is. Another great thing about appendix carry is when I'm driving, I can literally take my shirt and my seatbelt, tuck them behind the gun so that I have the butt of the gun exposed, the grip of the gun, just like this. And if I need the gun, it's right there. I can come down and grab it. That was really important to me last year when all the craziness was going on in the country, because if I had, which thankfully I didn't, gotten involved in some mess like that, it would have been way easier for me to get to my gun. My seatbelt wouldn't have been interfering. I wouldn't have had to try to pull away from my seat and then again my seatbelt lock up and not let me go forward. We've all had that happen, right? It sucks. It's not fun. We want to slap the car for being stupid. Now there are some potential downsides to appendix carry as well. Number one, most people think, well, you're going to shoot your junk off. Well, not really. If you're being careful, if you train with the gun or even a blue gun, granted you want to train with the gun empty, by the way, completely cleared out, train your draw stroke and train your reholster. Make sure you look at your holster when you're reholstering. Everybody thinks, oh, do you really need to look? You shouldn't have to look. You need to keep your eye on, whatever. If I'm putting my gun up, the guy that I had to pull my gun out for, or gal, is no longer a threat to me. If they are, I'm not putting my gun up. So there is no reason not to look at your holster. You should also absolutely take as little time as possible to safely unholster when you're drawing for practice and in the real world if something happens. But when you're putting the gun back in the holster, you don't need to go fast. You have all the time in the world at that point. So if you don't try to go too fast, don't try to be too cool to look at your holster, keep your finger off the trigger and make sure everything is out of the holster, like your shirt and stuff, when you're reholstering, aka look at your holster so you can tell that. If you're safe about it, if you're smart about it, you can absolutely carry appendix and never have a problem. I've never shot myself in the junk, and I've been carrying appendix now for, crap, like 5-6 years? I don't know. It's been a while. I've been carrying appendix for a while. One other potential con is it can be uncomfortable, especially for different body types. I noticed it took me a little while to get used to having the gun there and sitting down and standing up and it pressing into my groin and my stomach and all the different things. It can be uncomfortable at first, but you do get used to it, and it doesn't take very long, at least it didn't for me, to just kind of be used to it and ignore it, and it wasn't an issue anymore. But for some people, they can just never get over that, and that's totally fine. So yeah, pluses and minuses, pros and cons, but the advantages in my mind that appendix carry gives me are way more significant than the disadvantages, the potential disadvantages, especially the, shooting yourself in the junk thing. Because again, if you're safe and if your gun isn't, out of spec and isn't gonna just literally go off because it had a mechanical failure, then you should be fine. That being said, I like to carry a lot of other different ways as well. I'm not just an appendix guy, but I do carry primarily appendix, especially for concealed carry. Those are my thoughts. That's my preference. That's all I've really got to say about it, guys. But I know that this is a hot topic, if you will. Appendix carry is pretty popular now, but it hasn't always been, and there are still some people out there that are really not big fans of it. And if that's you, then that's great. That's awesome. Totally good with that. But post down in the comments below why you don't like appendix or why you prefer something else over appendix, and let's talk about it. Maybe you'll have some reasons and some thoughts that I haven't ever come up with before or ever heard of. So it'd be great to have that discussion. If you guys have any questions, you can also post those down in the comments, or you can send me an email or a DM on Instagram. I'll have that linked in the description and here on the screen for you guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope that maybe the video told you something, gave you some kind of information, or at least something to think about, especially if you're newer to concealed carry and you're trying to find a position and a way that you'd like to carry your gun. Maybe this gives you some food for thought. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't carry appendix. I'm just telling you why I like it and why it may be for you as well. But that's all I got for you guys today. I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. Y'all take it easy, roll tide, and I'll see you later.